Hi, Dr. Greg Grillo here with Express Dentist. There's all these complex links that keep popping up between oral health and other conditions in the body. And they're very fascinating, and some of them may just be correlations, but other of them may have more of a cause and effect type relationship. And one that I find very interesting is the research that's currently being done between oral health, specifically gum health, and Alzheimer's. We know that Alzheimer's is a very devastating disease. It's actually the sixth leading cause of death in the United States. And so the more we can learn about it, the better. It turns out that there's actually maybe 36 different causes that have been identified of Alzheimer's or contributors to Alzheimer's. So we can't link any one thing. It's just as we talk about gum health and a potential link to Alzheimer's, we don't want to look at that as that is the cause, but it may be a contributor, and it may be something that we want to understand and learn a little bit more about and dive into. So when we think about Alzheimer's, it's an inflammatory condition, it's neuroinflammation, and there's these bundles, these tangles in the brain that are affected. And this inflammation may originate in the brain, and in other cases, it may come from somewhere else in the body and basically end up in the brain and contribute to Alzheimer's. So how could this be related to your gums? Well, gum disease is a very inflammatory disease. It involves bacteria, and those bacteria draw a reaction in the body, an inflammatory reaction from your immune system. And as a result, you can actually measure inflammation throughout the body in a simple blood test. And since that's the case, they start looking at these diseases that they know have inflammatory nature, which many diseases do. And in the case of Alzheimer's, just in the last few years, they've identified a specific bacteria, P. gingivalis, which gingiva, comes from the gums and has been found in the brains of Alzheimer patients. Now, what's most interesting is that this bacteria has been found prior to the onset of Alzheimer's as well as in Alzheimer patients. So there's this very interesting correlation that may be more than a correlation, and maybe it makes Alzheimer's a little bit worse. We don't know. But certainly oral bacteria seem to have some implication in this terrible condition that is the sixth leading cause of death in the United States. And so anything we can do to help cut the risk of any other condition in the body just by maintaining oral health is worth doing. And obviously gum disease is the leading cause of tooth loss, so that's a problem all by itself. But what if we could reduce our risk of something as serious as Alzheimer's just by controlling gum health? And so that's definitely something we want to consider doing. And how do we go about that? It's not normal for gums to bleed. Sometimes we see bleeding gums and we think that that's normal, but it's not normal. Healthy gums don't bleed. It means that there's inflammation at some level, and it may be just gingivitis. I have to be careful with the word just. It could be gingivitis, which is inflammation of the gums or the gingiva. But remember, any time that there's bleeding, that means that there's an open doorway into your system and bacteria are entering the bloodstream. So then once they have that free pass, then they can move very quickly through the system. Now, gum disease starts as gingivitis, but it carries on to become more serious, something called periodontitis or periodontal disease. And this is where often we start to see bone loss in some degree around the teeth. And once the bone starts to deteriorate, then the bacteria are embedding deeper into the system, and inflammation levels tend to increase throughout the body as the condition increases as well. So keeping healthy gums means keeping a healthy body. And we'll look at some other conditions in the weeks ahead, but Alzheimer's is a big one. And none of us need any additional risk as we navigate our journey through life. So at Express Dentist, we help patients find dentists that they can get care from, whether you just need routine care with this preventive care, which is very significant as we've just looked at today, or maybe you need an emergency service of some kind or a specialty service that you've been considering. We have a network of trusted dentists that we can help you connect with, and we're happy to do so. So please reach out and we'll help you get set up with a dentist in your area. And remember that the mouth is where health begins. Be well.